Hey, what's good, everybody? Glad to have you back here on Living in Truth. I'm Aaron Brooks. We've got a lot to get to today, so let's jump right in. All right, welcome back in. Glad that you're here. Let's strap in quick for what we have today. I'm really excited. I know we've got the giveaway to get to at the end of the video, so I want to go ahead and just jump right into the Word of God. So go ahead, get your handy dandy Bible app out right here. Yep, got it. Very good. So in John chapter 8, let's jump right into what Jesus has to say. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "We are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free?" Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son remains forever. So, if the son sets you free, you will be free indeed." So, why are so many of us living as slaves when we're meant to live as sons and daughters of Christ? Why are we living in a place that we find ourselves not free from sin, not free from guilt, not free from shame? Well, for me, I look and this idea has been, in my head for weeks at this point. It seems like such a big topic, and we may end up splitting it up and coming back and revisiting this idea of buried versus planted. What do you do when you bury something? Yeah, you dig a hole in the ground, you put the thing in it, and then you take that dirt and you toss it back on top and you cover it up. What do you do when you plant something? You dig a hole in the ground, you put the thing in it, and you throw the dirt that you just dug up back on top of it. So, why two different words for the same thing? It's all about the intent with which the thing goes into the ground. When we take something and we bury it, we plan on never seeing that thing again. We plan on that being the last time that thing ever shows up. We take it, we dig a hole, probably a whole lot deeper than when you're planting it, right? Because you're trying to make sure it never comes back. You put it in the ground, you throw the dirt on it, and that's supposed to be the end of it. You never want to see it again. Versus when you plant something, you expect it to come back up out of the ground. You expect it to produce whatever that plant or thing was designed to produce, whether it's a flower or whether it's fruit or whether it's vegetables. When you plant something, you're expecting that to come back. But when you bury something, you hope it never comes back. So why does that have anything to do with what we're talking about today? Well, Jesus right here is talking about the truth setting you free. To get you out of the bondage of sin and slavery that comes along with that, because the Bible tells us the wages of sin is death. So the cost of sin is death. So here we try to get away from sin. We try to get away from trouble, right? How many of us have ever taken something like, when you're a little kid, you did something, you broke something, you maybe broke something in your mom's or your dad's, or maybe you broke a toy that was new, or who knows, you broke something you didn't want to get caught. What did you do? Well, you took that thing and you slid it under the nightstand, you slid it up under your bed, or threw it in the corner of the closet or something like that, right? Yeah, don't act like you've never done it. We've all been there. We're humans. So you try to take that thing and put it away because you know it's going to get you in trouble, because you weren't supposed to break it, or you weren't supposed to even be touching it. Meanwhile, we can't get away from it, and now we've broken it, and so we're going to get rid of the evidence, right? Right. Always seems to me it was the most inopportune times that thing showed back up too, right? Or am I the only one that had that trouble? Because it was like, okay, maybe I got away with it for a day or even a week or even a couple of months, so long that I had forgotten that I had done that. And then you hear from your bedroom, your mom calls out in my name. It was, well, when I was in trouble, it was Aaron Christopher Brooks. It was all of the names. I knew I was sunk then. I know some of y'all can relate. Probably all of y'all can relate. But you hear that from the other room and you know, and your heart just sinks. That thing that you buried has come back up. Only it come back up producing guilt and shame. Instead of when you planted it, the truth, it would produce freedom. So when we take the truth and we bury it, we hide it away, when it comes back up out of the ground, when it comes back around, because the truth always comes out, then it produces this guilt and this shame. You're constantly worried about somebody finding out about the thing that you didn't tell them. You're constantly worried about somebody finding out the thing that you did that you weren't supposed to. And you constantly live in this state of guilt, shame, fear, worry. But if we face the music, so to speak, and we take the truth and we say, hey, look, I know I wasn't supposed to do this, but I'm sorry and I broke it. That doesn't mean that you get away with it without the penalty, because our actions do have repercussions, right? So when we do something wrong, there's still punishment to come out. But when you try to hide it away, not only do you get the punishment at the end of the day anyway, a lot of times it's worse, and you had to deal with the lie the whole time. So not worth it. So when you're sitting here and you bury it, shame, all these negative things, stress. But when you plant it, when you plant the truth and you expect it to come out and you expect there to be a harvest, then what happens is you start to live your way, you start to live your life in a way that the stress and the anxiety and the fear melt away because you know you're living in truth. Hey, sounds like a good name for a YouTube channel. You know you're living in truth. Your life begins to take shape. You don't have those things that you want to hide away and bury anymore because you start to realize that they're not worth it in the first place. Because if you've got to hide it and you've got to bury it, it's going to come back up, and it's going to come back up with bad intentions. But if you can start to live your life in a way that you say, hey, look, I screwed up. Can you forgive me? What a lot healthier way to live, because now you're not hiding. Now you're not constantly dreading and fearing conversations with people and being alienated and separated, right? So if we can learn to live in truth, to share our guilt, our shame, our failures, our shortcomings with one another and say, hey, look, I'm struggling in this area, in this area. Last video, we talked about what? Accountability partners, finding a couple people that you can just tell the truth to and say, hey, look, can you pray for me? I'm struggling in this area, in this area. Hey, can you help me out here? I made a mistake in this area, in this area. I don't know what your struggles are. I'm not going to sit here and put anybody on blast. I'm saying, let's get through this together to build that community where that way we know we're not holding that over anybody else either, because we don't want that. We want to live in freedom. And so when we plant the truth and it starts to bring up its fruit and starts to bring up its produce, it produces these beautiful flowers. It produces this wonderful state where I can just live and breathe and know that nothing is going to come back up that I didn't put in the ground with the intention of saying, hey, it's coming back up. I know it's coming back to me. I already know. I've already faced the music on the stuff that I messed up on, and I'm already working on getting better from it. That's where we got to get to, man. Like that's what I want us to live in truth. It's so important. So when we bury it, it produces what? Bury the truth, you produce shame, guilt, stress, anxiety, fear. When you plant it, when you plant the truth, you produce freedom. Jesus tells us right here in his word that the truth will set you free, right? Let's see exactly. Let's go back one more time to the handy dandy Bible app and let's look. Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." It will. It may not be the most comfortable thing to get into early on because there's some stuff we're going to have that we've got buried that we're going to have to dig up and plant, right? There's some things that we've had buried for a long time that we've got to pull back up and say, hey, look, I don't want this thing following me around, tying me down anymore. I got to get rid of it. It's time for me to move on past it. So don't plant the truth. Don't bury the truth. Plant the truth, and you will produce freedom. There's a quote, man, I'm trying to remember. I think, it says, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no." Sounds like a pretty smart guy may have said that. In fact, I know a pretty smart guy said that. If you can tell me who said it and where I can find that quote, put it in the comments below. I want to know. Can you find it? Can you find out who said, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no"? And that's the great way, a great foundational truth of how to live in truth and how to have that freedom that comes along with it. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me. I know this is a little bit of a heavy topic, but I want us to get through this part where we can live in freedom, where we can enjoy knowing that the truth of God has set us free and that we can walk in freedom with our heads held high. Because when we get that place, we can love one another better. We can really, truly carry out the word of God and show other people. We can have that smile on our face, that joy of God in our heart that really will influence and affect those around us, because everybody likes to be around happy people. Ain't nobody want to be around Oscar the Grouch all the time, right? All right. Well, got one more thing, right? Right? Yeah, we do. So we got the giveaway. I've taken the names from those that commented. If you didn't comment, sorry, I tried. We gave you a full week to get in the comments. I'm recording it this morning, so if you got in after that, I'm sorry. Next time, get in there a little bit earlier for me, and we'll do more of these kind of things, okay? So for now, we're going to get into this. I got your names in here, whatever your username is. And so I'm mixing it up. This right here. This is my grandfather's hat. So I figure it's good luck for somebody out there. And just one way. I miss my grandfather, so I get to use this. So anyway, all right, we're shaking it up. I think I've shaken it enough, right? It's pretty well mixed up. And the name that I'm going to draw right here on this little piece of paper is Jorge. Check it out, Jorge. You won, man. And look at that. Not even a week ago, you didn't even have a YouTube account set up. You were texting me on WhatsApp instead. You got signed up and you won. And I'm serious. That's legit. Everybody's name was in here. I didn't rig the thing like somebody told me to do. I didn't do it. So thank you for being here. Thanks for coming out. Love you guys so much. Let's keep this moving forward. Share, like, comment, subscribe, get involved. We need to tell the world all about Jesus and how good he is to each and every one of us. Remember, don't bury the truth. Plant it, get it out there, and begin to live your life in freedom the way that God intended it for you. Love you very much. And until next time, see ya. All right, how'd we do? Did it spin? Come on, I know it's spun. I've been practicing. I had people asking me hey, do you try to do that? Heck yeah, I do. Trying to do something. And just for video evidence, I'm pulling out the rest of these. Tyler, thank you for entering. Appreciate you. Jay Logan, he entered. He's the one who told me to rig it to not let him win. Miss Timo 99, I saw you. Appreciate your entry. Miss Lauren, you right here in the mix too. Appreciate you. Thanks for getting in the comments. I hope you guys have fun with it. I know I did, and love you very, very much. So glad to be doing this with you. All right, I'm out. What is good, everybody? So glad to have you back here on Living in Truth. I'm Aaron Brooks. Let's get right into what we have for today. Awkward. So awkward. Man, I was so hyped. I was going to get it right this time. I didn't even try to do anything. Hey, what's up? What is good, everybody? So glad that you're here. All right. I'm not going to sit down. We're just going to go.